All right, man. So I seen Bruce's video about this, so shout out to him. About, you know, people making a big deal, Crawford picking Fundora, saying it's treasonous, saying that he ain't on code. Oh, he hating on Boots. And, you know, my thing was, you know, what was y'all opinion when he went over there and he trained with Canelo? He wasn't requested. He went to go offer his services to Canelo Alvarez. And then again, you know, why don't y'all ask him when y'all put that microphone in front of his face how he feel about Makram Mazalia calling him a fucking monkey? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay. See, that's the thing where y'all got the game twisted at. You know, y'all think it's on some of these dating coaches or this fake alpha shit they put on the internet where you can go out there and fuck as many hoes as you want to, but your woman got to sit there and be loyal to you. Yo, so they want, you know, Jaron Ennis to go out there and, you know, coon it up with Canelo, right? But then, right, coon it up with Canelo, then they want Crawford to stay this proud black man, which I ain't saying Crawford perfect, but, you know, don't sit here and speak of a code, especially for you out of touch blacks and you non-blacks, to speak on a code that you know nothing of. Just because your Wiggers or your honorary Negro, you feel like you got a Wigger pass, an honorary Negro pass, or because the Sambos that you hang with allow you to say the N-word, don't mean you can invite into this barbecue, but you can come to this barbecue, take a seat. You ain't gonna need no plate of no motherfucking ribs or no potato salad, right? And my thing is this, you know, we can give our honest opinion in boxing, and that's what I hate about boxing, when it kind of get tribal, and we can't be an honest opinion. And there's a way to give an honest opinion, like, man, I really want Boost to win, but I think Fundora get him. You know, see, the Mexicans kind of got it all kind of misconstrued because they stick with their own. And even when they wrong and they know they're going to be wrong, they still support that man once he lose. You know, amongst the black community, he lose, or he got to retire. And obviously a lot of that is enforced by other ethnic groups. Oh, he should retire. He should never fight again. But, you know, or he get popped out. He should never fight again. Amongst, you know, everybody else can have a revival. Everybody else can bounce back quicker than a dribble. But with us, it's over with. Oh, he should never fight again. We don't want to see him no more. I don't know how Devin Haney going to recover from this from Ryan Garcia, even if he cheated, you know. But we should be able to have honest dialogue. We should be able to have honest dialogue, you know, and be transparent. And that's what I try to build my content on, is just honest, transparent dialogue. Like I said, man, I wanted Crawford to win, but I didn't see him, you know, a year off, doing everything perfect to beat Canelo, and then having to overcome the scorecards. And shout out to him, he did it. But it's like, oh man, you picked Canelo, but then if you picked Bud and he would have lost, you know, people would have said, well, they would have made excuses. I don't do that. I stand on my pick, and a lot of these dudes, they don't do prediction videos. You know, they just throw their prediction in a random 3-hour live stream and say, I ain't never missed a pick. They don't stand on it. They don't title it or stand on it. But realistically, I mean, we should be able to be objective. You know, people only feel like Bud hating is because of what Ennis did. Or, you know, Bud don't really like Jaron Ennis, and because Ennis was clout chasing. It ain't that. I mean, I don't think Bud dislikes him because of that. That's just what young fighters are supposed to do. And Bruce made up another interesting point. You know, if, you know, Ennis was the one to beat Terence Crawford, and he got on Dante too. No, did he? I'm gonna speak on that. He said if Ennis is the one to beat Terence Crawford, then, you know, why is people talking about this Xander Zayas fight being competitive or being being close or being a 50-50 fight? You know, and I can answer that question. Some people just want to fight to be 50-50. Some people just want to fight to be competitive. The upset is the new big fight in boxing because they don't deliver the fights when we need them, when we want to see them. Neither want or need them. In boxing, you should want to be premature rather than be too late. But guess what? Their bank account saying being too late is the way to go. But that's another story for another day, right? And, you know, but with Boots and shit, you know, people just feel like, you know, it's Bud clapping back because they know Boots was wrong. What Crawford said, you know, I think Boots got the best chance to beat Sebastian Fundora. I truly believe that. at the 154-pound division. But at the same time, could I fault somebody saying that they don't think Boots can beat Sebastian Fundora? You know, I don't fault them because I watched the tape of Boots. And then Boots fight behind his jab and keep his hands up. Yeah, Boots going to be hard to beat. But when Boots is walking his opponents down, throwing big shots and not moving his head and keeping his head on the line and pulling straight back with his chin up in the air, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem. But, you know, like I said, I mean, you can't be objective. You just can be a hater. But I think most people might pick Fundora to beat Boots. Boots ain't fought one real opponent that make you think he could beat Fundora. And we go through this shit over. Every new hot prospect, we go over this over and over and over again. Oh, he's a killer. He's a killer. He's a killer. He's a killer. And then you be like, who did he fight? You be like, who did he fight? This guy's on a pound for pound list who ain't never had a hard day at the office, bro. This dude's on the pound for pound list who ain't been tested. This guy's has been, you know, unified champion that ain't been tested, you know? So yeah, it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting dynamic about where we're going in boxing. Very interesting dynamic about it, man. It's a lot of, you know, so many belts and so many guys, you know, prematurely getting to where they at, but that's Bud's opinion. Now, if Boots go out there and put Boots to ass or Boots on the brown on Sebastian Fundora, guess what we can sit there and say? And Bud is Bud still hating on him? Oh, that nigga trash, you know, he got lucky. Then we could say, hey man, you know, Bud hating, bro. Bud kind of hating on him. Bud off call, but we should be able to have honest opinions in boxing. We shouldn't have to go to a brown space and they pick the Mexican, you know, and they not objective. We shouldn't go to a black space and he picked the black fighter, but they not objective. No, you know, at the end of the day, I get where y'all feel like y'all want to stay on this code, but objectivity, you have to, you know, especially when people count on y'all platforms to place money on you know, you have a, you know, integrity to yourself and to your family name to be honest. Hey, look here, man, you know, I'm putting my money on woo, 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 but I think woo, woo, man, my heart, you know, my brain tell me woo, woo. It's so many ways to say it and still sound like you on code. But a lot of these dudes, they don't do prediction videos because they fear the backlash of the comment section. That's what they fear. Me personally, man, I don't really care, dog, because, you know, if it's so easy, you get on camera and do it. If it's so easy, you put your shit on this camera, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, people in the comment section don't scare me, man. You know, you get bodied, Vivo Lottie, get your ass bodied. You know? And even if you could do it, you can do it in a respectful manner. It ain't nothing wrong with doing it in a respectable manner. Oh, you was wrong, you know? Well, cool. I can stand on it. What did you say? Oh, in page 95 of Deuteronomy, I said, like, nah, nigga, nah. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, he picked him. A lot of people would pick Fundora over Boots. Boots ain't fought nobody, bro. I keep telling, and then, I mean, it is what it is. He go in there and beat Xander's ass, man. You got to give him credit. You got to give him credit. And I watched Xander last fight. Xander's a hella fighter. Xander's a hella fighter. Xander's a good boxer. So he gonna get credit from me regardless. You know, I want to see Boots do good, but I ain't really like that move he made with Canelo. I ain't like that, but so be it. I'm not mad at it. You live with the decisions that you know, you make the decisions, you live with it. You know? What do you say? Straight like that. But if you have me to be honest with you, you know, I would favor, if I had my money, I would favor Fundora. But I also think Boots got the best chance to beat him. I'll say that too. I think Virgil got a great chance too, but Virgil sit in front of him too much. And a lot of these guys don't really work angles the way they should really work them. So I think Boots work angles a lot better than a lot of the other fighters, him and Xander. You know, Xander work angles too. So I see kind of why, other than the size, you know, the brute size of Xander's IS, why Fundora and them stayed away from him. But before I get out of here, you know, I heard what Bruce said about Dante saying that Terence Crawford and Boots had a similar style. They don't. I mean, once you watch they make those comparisons because he's a switch hitter. But what I find it funny is people who know the sport of boxing, they don't make the comparison of, you know, Marvin Hagler and Terence Crawford because they both switch hitters. But I think because they both, you know, melanated, and, you know, Boots is freakishly athletic and he does some fly shit in the ring, that, you know, maybe that. But they don't have similar styles other than switching, you know. Bud is a master thinker in there. You know, Bud's a great finisher. Bud uses a jab. Bud has great looping shots. Bud is, you know, he works angles, discipline. Bud, it can be a box. God, shabam. Yeah, I know we all got to get to the left. This damn motherfucker. Go, shit. What the fuck is you waiting on? Something just told me that this train was gonna catch a dude today. I knew that train. Something told me to keep going the other way. But yeah, people say that, but when you watch the tape, Boots like to lead off with uppercuts and right hook, left hooks. Boots got a good jab, but he not jab dominant. There's a lot of times where he uses jab that he can really outclass people without taking the hits that he get hit with. The defense is totally different. How they switch is different. You know, Boots really look to close the gap and walk you down. You know, Bud, you know, can, you know, keep you at the end of his shots, and, you know, they just two different fighters, you know. But people say that because of their ability to switch. So, you know, hit the link in the description. Find me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Appreciate the love and support. Peace.